Hello friends, welcome back to our channel. As you can see in today's video we are going to learn about the Postman tool. So let's shall start it. So let's talk about what is a Postman. So Postman is a web-based API tool which we use for working with the APIs. So before going forward with the Postman, we have to understand what is the API. So API is a set of programming code that enables data transmission between one software product and another. It also contains the terms of the data exchange. So for example, you can understand, let me give you a real world example to understand about the API that we have a electric socket where we can plug our electronics or electrical devices like washing machine, refrigerator, television, and or any other electronic items. Okay, so in the plug socket you can just plug the wire and you can use your electronic application. In the same way, the APIs work like a electric socket where the API can use with the interface in in a programming case or in a software application case. The internet is our the interface, and in the real world example, my wire, the plug wire is my interface. It will connect with this application. Now we talk about in the definition of the API, it contains the terms of the data exchange. So what is the terms in that? So let's take another real life example into that. If we talk about the plug socket in Europe and the US, those are completely different. So this is a define that for any electronic appliance, there would be, if they are using in the Europe, in the Europe continent or in the US, so accordingly their plug will be supplied along with that. So this is how the APIs work. The same way the APIs have defined some terms or a protocol which we use. Based on that, we can use APIs within our software products or a software application. And for learning more about the APIs, we have another tutorial in which we have provide details about the APIs. So check it out, that tutorial. Yeah. So let's go ahead. So first we going to understand how to install Postman. So for that you have to go on the Postman site. I'm going on the Postman site. Open over here, download Postman. So it will provide you, see, my system is a Mac OS, so it's providing me desktop version for Mac OS. If you have a Windows, you can download it. Click on over here, it will download latest version will be here, and you can install it, and you have to sign it. Now maybe when I'm going to upload this tutorial or edit after editing and all, maybe there is a new version will come out. There would be a slight difference, but overall the fundamentals are the same for each and every version. So let's see. I'll cancel it because I have already got. So let's launch my Postman. So this is the layout of the Postman. So we'll go the details about each and every functionality provided by the Postman, and we'll see how we can use it. So the first, let's run are the first API. For that we have a simple call, this one. This link I have provided in the description so you can use it. So let me run the first test over here. I copied this. This is my API which I am going to use in this video. So let me create the one first over here. So you can see the result. Now let's first talk about the protocol which we are using to run it. So this is work on the HTTP protocol. The HTTP is a hypertext transfer protocol which used by the RESTful APIs, and there are some methods, HTTP methods, which provide a CRUD functionality. If you know about the CRUD functionality, is the create, update, record, and delete. So how these CRUD functionality work in the HTTP protocol with the methods. So you can see there are a lot of methods provided over here: guest, post, put, patch, delete, copy. So these are the methods. We will see how these methods will work and how they provide the CRUD operations. Over here you can see the HTTPS. So it's about the secured. There are two type. One is the HTTP and another is the HTTPS. HTTP is normal, where authentication is not required. The another one HTTPS, which is HTTP secure, which we require the authentications uh, for these APIs. So this is about the HTTP and HTTP methods. So now let's start how these things work. This is the documentation I have mentioned on the GitHub. So I'll share this file location in the description, so you can go over there and can see all the methods, how they work, and what the functions we can achieve through these particular APIs. Now the first part we are going to talk about the collections and the variables. So what are the collections and the variables into that? So the basically collections are set of APIs or APIs different functions which we want to apply or test it. So for that, how the APIs will work on, let's see. So this is one of my API which I'm running it. So for creating a collection, I need to click on this save button. Over here, I give the name. Let me give the name get status. Now there is a no collection, so let me create a collection over here. So I'll say simple book API. This is my collection name which I have created, and now if I click on save, it will save as a get status over here. In the collection you can see this is my. So what is a get? Get is basically kind of a retrieve function which provide you the information when you required from the server side. So that time we use a get method over here. So this is how this works. Now we talk about the variables. What is the variables? So you can see, so let's suppose if I run multiple operations on this API, like this is the status. If I want to know how many books are available, if I want to give order for a book, then this is my endpoint which going to be a constant for my all functions, all the methods which I'm going to call it. So what I'm going to do, I select it over here, right click on this. So you can see these are set as a variable. So let me click on the set as a variable, set as a new. I give the name as a base URL. This is my base URL. Now I have to select the scope. So basically scope is to define in the Postman that this particular variable can use either in a global, that means in the all collections everywhere in the Postman, in the workspace, or for a specifically collection. So at this point of time I am selecting a collection, simple text, simple book, which I have created already. So I click on the set variable. So you can see the base URL double curly braces, base URL the double curly braces close. So this is how the variable are defined in the Postman. So if I need to define another variable, I can use it, and whenever I require to write it, so I can write down. If I want to write it down, I just double quotes, start writing base. You can see this is a base, and it will give the information that scope is collection, the current is this, and the initial value is this, and the current value is this. So in future, if I want to change my base URL, I can change it. So how am I going to change it? I will show you it in a time. So this is how. Let me click on this, and I'm running this as a status. And when I'm going to click on this, now I can see this is the response which I'm getting over here. Now, the second thing which we are going to learn is about the query parameters. What are the query parameters? Okay, but before that, we are going to use some more over here. So, yeah. So let's take another example of books. So what I'm going to do, doing this. I'm just making a copy of this. I'm just copying over here. This is my get application. I'm going to write it base URL. Now you can see unresolved URL. Why? Because this is not saved in my simple book API, and my variable scope is only for a collection. So let me do first. Let me save it. Get books. This is the name which I am giving. Save. Now I can use it. Books. I'm going to run it. Get data info. Let me check it. This is return the list of base URL books. Save and run it. So you can see. Yeah. So you can see this is the response where I get the about the books. Now let's talk about the query parameters. What is the query parameters? So if you have seen that we provide some more details about whenever you have seen the endpoint URL of any API, we see there are a few more parameters has been given in the URL itself. So how they are giving it? So let's take an example with our documentation. Remember one thing, whenever you are start working on the API, you should ask the API documentation. In the API documentation, you have everything about how the APIs work, the parameters can be used, and uh, what is the schema of the response and the what are the request parameter we need to send it, right? So this is you have to always ask for the document. Okay, so now we talk about the query parameter. So we have two parameters. Like if I say, if I use type over here, so these my, these are my options, these my parameters where I'm going to provide the parameters. Like if I write type, and if I give a value over here fiction, so you can see in this my URL is appended by type equal to function. And if I write something as test, write the value as foo, so you can see this is also appending my this one. So let me run this one and we'll see. So you can see this is the results I get based on the fiction. You can see over here. Let me save as get books type. Let me save this one. So this is how I'm saving it. So this is save it. Now let's talk about, so there are multiple way, there's a multiple way whether you can write your, and the query parameters over here, or you can create the put it the query parameters over here, and these would be available in documentation. So let's take another. I have a limit. This is one of my another one. Now before going to that, let me change this value as a crime. So now let me run it and we'll see it. So you can see that I get the status as a 400 bad request. And always remember that whatever the response comes, the error comes in the response, you have to follow it. You have to read and understand what exactly the error it is. So you can see over here it's an invalid value for a query parameter type must be one of fiction and non-fiction. So that's why it's giving me an error. But if I change it as a non-fiction, as mentioned in the error, and run it, you can see these are the only two entries available for non-fiction. So this is how we use the query parameters. Let's take another one. Let me write down limit over here, and I'll say about 3. This is my limit. Now let me run it. So I can see non-fiction have only two, so it's providing me only two. But if I change it as a non-fiction to fiction, and we'll see what would be my result. Now I can see 1, 2, and 3. Three results will appear. If I change it, let's change to the 4, and we'll see 1, 2, 3, and the 4. So this is how we use a query parameters to work along and provide the additional information to our API, that this is the additional information sent to the server, and based on that, server provide you the response with the corresponding information. Now let's take another topic, which is called a path variable, right? So what is basically a path variables? So you have seen we provide some details, right? We provide some details, and you know for a specific value, based on the specific value we get the information. Like if I have ID, so if I provide the one, I should get the value of ID. This information should be come along in my response. If I provide the ID 3, then based on this information would come out. So these always be used by the path variables. So let's talk, and we'll, so let me save as, let me check. Yeah, so this is how I have saved it. So let me remove this at this point of time, so you can see this is completely moved out. So now if we talk about the path variable, so doing that, we have to write in the URL in this way. This is how we are going to write it. So when I am going to do this, and colon book ID, so you can see whenever I used, see, I have done nothing, just understand, this is my standard one. When I use colon, right, and start writing book, you can see that this is my path variables appear over here. So let me create a big over here. So this is my book ID. This is the book ID which I have created. Book ID, let me copy this from over here. This is book, capital book, so I can write down over here book ID. So this is how, and the value I'm going to provide over here is, let's say, 1. This is the value I'm giving as a 1, and now let's run it. So you can see the all information about the book ID I received, the price, type, the current stock available and all. Let me put it value 4 over here to see. You can see that. So let's try another one. Let me do that. Let me say I don't require over here as, let me take as a name. Let's see what it'll provide us. So let me write down, I'll take this example. So let me copy this. Sorry, I copy this, pasting over here, and let them see, run it. So no book with ID name, because this parameter, this path variable, we haven't set it. Or maybe you can run it in this way, like we have run it. If I say books slash 1 and run it again, I'm get the same value. So this is how we use the path variables, where either you provide the path variables, keys and their values into path variables, or you can directly provide the value, whichever the value you want to say the over here. So if I, another way is, which we studied, the body ID, and we give the values over here like 3, or I can directly write over here in this way. Let me save this one. So this is how the path variables are used in the Postman. Now this is, so far we understood about the get method, which is provide you the retrieve. That means if you want to see some values from the server side or from the server, you can use the get method. But now let's see, if you have want to send a or create a record in from the server side, then how, what method we are going to use it. Okay, so let's take another one. When you click over here, it will open this. I am going to select a post request over here. This is my post request, which basically works to create a record in the server side. So let's take a example of post, how we are going to use the post itself. So this is the post, but for that we required some authentication because we are using HTTPS, and for allow submitting to a new order requires authentication. So for the authentication, what we are going to do, so over here I have mentioned that how we are going to use our authentication. So let me use that authentication part so we can create this one, right? So this is my post, so let me use first this one. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to create, let me write down my base URL, but again you can see this is not way. So let me uh, post auth key, because we required auth key, selected, save. This is save, I have saved. Now if I go for this, I can see select, sorry, slash API clients. Now this is a post. So in the post, always remember one thing, that we whenever we are using a post method, we have to provide information in the request, that this is the information which I want to update, create in from the server side, right? So for that, what we use a body, and in the body you can see there's none form data form, so we're going to use raw over here. After this raw, there are text and JavaScript in which form we are want to send our body. So let's say we are going to use a JSON over here. So I choose JSON. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to copy this. Let me copy this over here and paste it. This is what I have pasted. Now this is my auth key, so it will send this data and provide me a response. So let's run it. I've run this one, and you can see this is API client already registered because I have already created. So let me change it. Let's say ATT. This is, I'm going to do that. Okay, sorry, this is mail ID. Yeah. So now I'm going to run it. Now this is the access token I received, right? This is the access token which I received. So let me copy this, and what I'm going to do is I need to use it, right? I need to use it in my post method when I'm going to order it, right? So for that, what I need to do, I need to set as a way, I need to put this as a in the variable itself. So let's see how we are going to use the variables. Okay, just a minute. Yeah, so I just copied it. Let me copy this and paste it. So I paste it over here. Now how I am going to work with my post condition. So let create another method over here. This is, I have a post, so let's post. Let me save it. Save as order book, and save. I have to just click on the save. Yeah. So this is the post, right? This one is the post. Yeah. So now let's see how we are going to do the orders. So for that, in the Postman, I'm going to write my base URL. This is my base URL over here. Use orders. This is the orders. Now what I need to provide in the orders, book ID and the customer name and the authentication. So for that, let's copy this and go. I'll go to body, raw, text, JSON, copy over here, and I will say book ID. This is what I have mentioned over here. Now I need to make the authentications, right? So in this auth, you click the authentication. You have a type which kind of. So we have a bearer token. So we have used it, and we paste. Sorry, our token. This is I'm going to use over here. So this is my token. I've used it. Now you can see the header. There are 10 different headers over here, which basically provide you all the details like cache, what is a cache control. So these are the headers which basically send over, send along with the API request, like contain, which kind of contain type should be. Okay, if you click over here, you can see what exactly the meaning is. The contain type, the contain type header is added to help the server identify the media type of the request body that is present in the request, right? So in this way, these are the simple, like, except we if we say it will provide the information which type of extension the data will be accepted by, in the response. So this is how we are providing it. Another thing you will remember that there is a button in the below which is called a console. You can see all the requests which we have run it. So let me clear this all over here. This is my now it's cleaned up. Now let's run this. So when I run it, see, this is created true. You can see that this is my order ID. This is generated, and you can see in the console. So when I expand it, you can see this is the authorization bearer which we have done it, right? This is the access token which we have provide. Contain type JSON format we have sent. About the user agent is a Postman. This is all the information which we have. Response body, this is the response body which we have received. You can see over here. So this is how we can see on the console side also, right? Yeah. This is authorization, right? And this is how you can see. Okay. So this is how we are using a post and the APIs also, API authentication. Created our tokens. So how we are going to make it as a variable. So this is my token which I use it. So click on this. When I click on this, it will ask the set as a variable. I click on set as a variable, set as a new variable, give a name as an access token, and again I select the where is collections, set variable. Now this has been set. If I save, now over here in this I use this. So whenever I require it, I need to just write down the access token and work in this way, and it will run it accordingly. This is, you can see the raw. This is the raw. I have to paste my body. This is my body which I am going to paste it as a JSON over here, and will run this. The request URL is empty. So let's say if I say base URL and put the orders, this is come out. Click on this and we'll see the results. What would be my result? So this is my result over here. Now let me save this first. So this is okay. So now let's talk about the JSON format. Okay, we'll see what is the JSON format. So you can see over here, this is my JSON format where, and remember that, if you are writing something wrong into that, it will provide you the error. So if, let's say if I remove this, so you can see this is the error is coming over here. This is my numeric which basically define when the API is designed. If I want to work on this way using the JSON, I cannot because it's passing the string over here. So this is would be the key value parameters in this way. So always remember we have a JSON, and for that, for a simple way to identify your JSON, go over here, just line, type over here J. This one JSON lint, you can use it. This is one of the famous web-based JSON validation. So if you want, you can just copy your any JSON over here. You can just validate. It will provide you whether it's a valid JSON or there is some error into that. So you can use that. So this is how we use a JSON format into that. Now this is we have learned about the get method, post methods. Now let's say that until now we have seen that we are providing the details, details to server using a API by providing name. But let's talk about that. I have to use some others data in the random data. So for random data, what I need to you do, let's talk about that. And before that, the Postman is provided a lot of functionality in that case where we can use predefine the variables, and we utilize it. And how we are going to utilize, we have seen that I need to write a double quotes, like if I, in this case, if I want to send double quotes dollar random, random full name, this is what I have send it, right? So see this how. So now let's run it. This is my one of the variables, just the Postman variable, which is predefined, and then run it. We'll see unprocessable entity. So always remember that we are using this unprocessed, whatever the values are coming into the response, we have to understand how these things are going well. So it's saying, and the status, what is the status saying? This is saying the request was well formed but was unable to be followed due to semantic error. So there are some errors showing over here. That is why this is the error we are get. This process cannot be processed or the response request can be sent. So let's see how we can resolve it. We have to see the errors, always remember that you have to see the errors of what are the errors are coming. So this is how we can use the random variables to provide. So if I not use double quotes and just write my random value over here, this is the syntax, always remember, right? Random, what value I need, full name. This is will give me error, but if I select, let me control X, I put the value in this over here. Okay, let me save this first. Okay, this is what console. Let me open the console so I can show you, and let me run it. So now we have run it. This is, you can see the order ID has been created. So let's copy this order ID for a while because it will be required in future. So you can see this is my request body. You can see this is the random name sent by the Postman. So this is how we are going to use our random test data. So this is the one of the coolest function for capability of Postman. So you don't try to create a random data for your API test case running. So you can use this functionality and create the random data. So far, if you like this video, hit the like button, and still you are not subscribed our channel, please click on subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you will get more notifications for all our new latest videos. So let's move ahead and we'll see. So this is so far what we have done. We have seen get and post. Okay, so let's take another example. Let me create it. And in this example, what we are going to do, we are looking to the specific order ID. Okay, so in that case, I need to set the save in my collections. Let me give the all orders. This is what I have given. Now I'm using my variable which I have created. This is the way I have created, and I write down orders. Now remember we have studied about the order ID. So this is how we are going to use order ID. Now we in our document we'll see it how this is work. So this is order ID. This is, we are going to get it, and the authentication is required. So in this case we have a bearer token, and we have already created a variable which called as access token. So this is how I'm going to do. Let me save it first. So I saved it. Now my order ID, this I need to use it, right? So we have copied. So let me copy this one. This is my value which I have given. Okay, now talk about the get order, right? So there would be nobody. So let's run it and we'll see what we get the values. So it says no order ID with this value. Okay, so let me run it. Get books. I'm going to run it. Okay, let me say order book. I run it. Order ID. So this is my order ID. Let me copy this, and this I need to check why it's not saying low. So I copied this in this, and let's see and run it. Now you can see this is my order ID which I received, right? So this is how we get the all values run it. Now let's talk about, because now we have discussed about the CRUD operation. In the CRUD operation we have seen create the post method, we have retrieve using get method, right? Now we going to see u which is called as update. We'll see how this will work. For that, let me do one thing. Let me create copy of this. Okay, duplicate of this and rename it. So I'm going to rename it update order. So this is what I'm giving the name is update over here, right? So let me open this. So I open this one, and what I need for the open. So I need, if I'm running on the patch which basically update, update a part of my any data. So for that we are using a patch one. So for the patch, what we need to do, we have to provide order ID in this way, which we have already. Now I have to provide the value and the token name, which is already given. This is my token authorization. For authorization, this is the order ID which I have given over here. Now I need to run it, right? And I need to change the name of the customer, right? So let's say I copy this, and in the body I go to the body, select raw, select the format, this is JSON. I have done it. So let me change the name as Shamsher over here. Okay, and if you can see, this is the Linda Smith TVM. This is the name we have seen for this. So now let me run this and run it, right? So this is going to show me. So let me get all orders and run this again. No, it's not changing. So let me see why it's not changing over here. I have given the name, then it should be changed as a customer name. Let me check. Okay, save it first and then click. Okay, somehow it's not changing it. Let me see. We are giving a customer name only, providing the patch order over here. This is the path variable which we have provided. Or let's take another. Why it's not taking? So order book, or we'll take get book over here, books created over here. We get the ID, name, type over here, get book path variable, order book. Yep, this is, we have done it. Let me take this ID and we'll see how it's not working. I've taken this is, let me close. So you can close all of them, close other tabs, you can click on it, it will close. I'll just make sure this is open, click or double click, going to change the value over here, orders, order ID. I'm going to save it. My body says the customer name should be this, and let's run this. Quantity 1, and if I see the console, what is in console? Orders, this is what I have run. So my request body, I can see this is my request body and response body. This is my response body, customer name, created, quantity and all. This is showing over here. Oh, sorry, my mistake. This is my mistake. I haven't used a patch. I'm working on the get. So that's why it's giving me only value based on I'm providing it. It doesn't matter what I have written in the body. So this is my mistake. So I select the patch and let's run it again. So sometimes this is, a mistake we do when we copied it. So I prefer to always create a new one rather than making a duplicate over here. So now you can see this is the one we have created, and let's see the response body. Right, in this order book, order ID, right? Let's copy this because we have changed for this. We go for all orders over here, we place the value and see is whether the customer name is changed or not. Let's see. So no order ID with, okay, sorry, this would be a 5. We have forgot the value of 5. Yeah, now let's run it. Yeah, so now you can see the value is changed as a customer. Or let's take another example for the same. So let's say order book, this is my where I'm going to create a one order. Let me run it. I run this one, I get the order. This is the order has been created. Let's say I have used this all order. So let's see the what is the values we have in this or JSON data. So I can see Alexis Dixon's, this is the value. Now let's run for the update order again. So over here now I'll change the name. This is the order name I'm going to change, and I have to give the parameter in my path variables. So let me change this. This is, I have a new one. I run it and I can see there is nothing over here. So let's go again over here and we'll see whether my customer name is changed. So I clicked on it. Now you can see. So this is how we can use, you know, use patch method for update values in our data, some kind of a data. And the last one is the delete, which we are going to discuss. What is the delete and how we can use it? Okay, at this point of time I will not make a mistake, and let me create the new one. I'll create over here. I give the name delete order because I'm going to delete my order. Delete order, saving it over here. Then I need to write what I'm going to. So you can see in the delete, so delete an existing order over here. So this is how we are going to do it. So for that, what I need to do, delete orders, provide the value over here and the authorization code, right? So this is how we are going to delete it. So let's say this is orders, right? Remember that orders. Now what I need to do, I have to create a path variable. This is my path variable, I'm creating it. You can see that. Now in this I need to put a value. So let's take this value. This is my value, right? So I'm taking this and putting over here. Okay, this is what I'm putting over here. And let's see, first delete, right? This is my method which I selected. Now authorization I required, so I need to do that again. Beer token, access token over here. Let's save it. Now I'm going to run it. So you can see 204 no contained. That means it's passed. There is a no error. Successfully processed the request. Now let's go to get all order. This is my which I have seen. So let's see whether this order is still available in my DB or whether I'm getting it or not. So let's click on this and see what would be the result after getting it. So you can see 404 not found. That means no order with this ID is available. That means by using this method we have delete our requirement, right? This particular data we have removed it. So this is how we can use delete methods, right? Now let's give some more about the patch. What is the patch? Create environment. So environment basically like in a real world when you are working, you either you work on a dev environment or you work on the QA environment or any other environment. So instead of creating create using your URLs, servers details, environment details, and changing it every time, you create the environment and you just need to replace your details which environment you are going to use it, and you are good to go work your APIs on that particular environment. When in our another video you can we will discuss about how the test automation of APIs we can achieve using a Postman. Then we'll see more details of the functionality of Postman itself. So far, if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe our channel for our motivation. And thank you all. Thanks for watching the video. Thank you.